Hello, Andrew Bolt. Everyone say good day to Andrew. Hello, mate. Well, Andrew, obviously the reason we're in Warrnambool here is the run-up to the state election, but also I'm announcing that, yes, it is true, I will be hosting the project next year on Channel 10. So this is the farewell kidding, of course. Thank you very much, Andrew, and to everyone else who's watching. G'day, Warrnambool. How are you? Lovely to have you here. Good to be in the room with you. We're going to celebrate this incredible part of Australia. I tell you what, it looks amazing with your own eyes. What we're able to show you on telly is going to absolutely blow you away tonight. You're going to love every second of it. But as always, we'd like to tell you my occasional views when it comes to the news of the day. If you're new to the program, it's an opinion show, and hold on to anything you possibly can. Sit down, particularly if you're a lefty. Now, let's get into the day's news. This is my last chance to be on the telly before the Victorian election, and I wanted to spend some time talking about that tonight, not just the obvious choice and the obvious direction that I hope that this state takes on the weekend. But today, the leaders in their final pitches, the Victorian government, via Daniel Andrews, was suggesting that they will get back to a budget surplus in 2026 is the expectation at this point. Do we believe them, Warrnambool? No. I didn't quite think so. As for Matthew Guy, today he is suggesting that 17-year-olds will be allowed to drive. Also, there's some interesting things in terms of polling that's around today, including that Ian Cook looks like he could be a massive shot of beating Daniel Andrews in Mulgrave. Now, believe it or not, there has been some exit polling that is suggesting that there is a chance that Andrews may well end up losing his seat. However, at this stage, the government looks like it would be re-elected, even as a minority government. To the people of Mulgrave, please, whatever you happen to do. Now, I also wanted to show you this as well, because are you sitting down? I'm pretty sure The Age editorialised in favour of the Liberal Party at this state election. The editorial that came out today said that integrity was the number one issue. It was also the number one issue that they believed for voters. And while they were tentative about other things about Matthew Guy, he was the only one that was serious about giving more money to IBAC and dealing with things differently. I repeat, the freaking Age has backed in the Libs for this election. Now, I also want to explain to people just how high the mountain is for a change of government. After the last election, which again, this is a rerun of Matthew Guy versus Daniel Andrews, but how much has changed in this joint in just 4 years? The Labor Party has 55 seats, the Libs and Nats have 27, and the Greens have 3, Independents have 2. Now, you need 45 to form a majority, so put simply, Labor can lose 10 seats but still win outright. The Libs need 18 seats. Now, why does this matter? Obviously, everyone starts with 0, but considering how many people have to change their mind from 4 years ago, Labor has 7 seats that were 3% or lower. The Lib Nats have 9 seats that were 3% or lower. Now, according to the latest opinion poll from the Resolve organisation, that was pretty good at the federal election, the Labor vote is down 7%. So if you start to do your sums about 3% or lower, you can start to see how 7 seats becomes possible. But the Liberal Party has not surged in the past 4 years, which is why you start to talk about minority government and other things that are around. As you can see, the Green vote is the same. The big change, however, is other and independent. That is up 7% from where it was this time 4 years ago. So the question about all of this is exactly what does that mean? Are we about to see a surge of teals in those razor-thin Liberal seats like we saw at the federal election? But as we learnt today via the Australian newspaper, many of the so-called independent teals, who have never voted Liberal in their life, of course, as you know, well, they stand with Dan about his response when it comes to the pandemic. So what would happen if they were needed to help form the minority government, not the Greens? Wait, watch and see. As for Ian Cook, well, Ian Cook is very confident, as I said, about what's about to happen in Mulgrave. Now, people at this point in a campaign, they have candidates' disease. Everyone thinks they're going to win. Even people like the Victorian Socialists, dear God, no one vote for them, please. And if you do, have a shower after you've voted for them. It'll be the first one in a few years. Now, of course, the Greens, well, what they may be surging on is, apart from a bit of lefty sentiment, which is always in parts of Melbourne, as we know, but certainly the firefighters have been out and fighting for the Greens. So despite the fact that it looked like they were fighting against Andrews, they're really finding a backdoor way to back Andrews in. Now, I also think that it's important to note a couple of other things here about, well, frankly, the choice that people have to make at this election. It's going to be complicated, but here's my view. Before you vote, please remember the 800 people who died after hotel quarantine, when no one lost their job, no one took responsibility, and it didn't happen in other states. 800 people. Think about the 33 people who died as a result of the failures of the O system. That didn't happen in other states. Think about the combined debt that is to be handed to your children, grandchildren and their children. It is now bigger than the combined debt of New South Wales, Queensland and Tasmania combined. They all had COVID too. Think about not one, but maybe at least 4 active corruption investigations, IBAC investigations into this government right now. If you're in regional Victoria, I ask you to please cast your mind back to when you were told you couldn't leave your house despite the fact there were 0 cases in regional Victoria. Think about the people we talked about on this show whose businesses got blown away because they were worried about 4 or 5 local government areas in Melbourne. The same 4 or 5 local government areas in Melbourne. Regional Victoria has really been hurt by those lockdowns, and this is part of why we are here to celebrate its return. Also, if you're in the regions, I want you to think as well about the battle around the AusNet cables. The AusNet cables, particularly around places like Ballarat. As part of the new move towards green technology, all of that has to be built somewhere. That's built in regional Victoria. All of it has to be transmitted back to Melbourne. All of that comes via power lines. The people of Ballarat, who currently, among other things, a great produce area for things like potatoes for McCain or for McDonald's, the compensation that they are getting for dirty big power lines is not for the dirty big power lines, but for the square metre of the towers that hold them up. This will be the future under a bigger rush towards renewables. So things have consequences, not just about tick and flick for parts of the suburbs. So my final suggestion is the same one that I've made the whole way through. Dear God, Victoria, anyone but Andrews. Anyone but Andrews or the Greens. But there's a good chance that part of this election has already been well and truly decided. There are 4.3 million people who can vote in Victoria and will have the opportunity to do so at this election. More than 1.3 million have already voted. So about a quarter have already stacked their votes. These presumably are the hardcores, they're ready to go. But are there people who wish that they hadn't voted because they wanted to see the Sky News People's Forum or that the Age backed the Liberals at this election? All of it is going to be a tectonic struggle for the future of this state and an indication about where we're going to go as a country for the next little while. It is over to you. And of course, the results will trickle in and then start to flow in on Sky News on Saturday night. Make sure you're watching the best panel on telly. Peter Credlin will be there along with all of our team. I tell you what, it's a cast of thousands and you could add another 1,000 more to the picture that you've just got there. The best coverage of the Victorian election is here on Saturday night. Also, a couple of other things worth mentioning here about our dear Prime Minister. As you know, greatest Prime Minister of all time, just ask him, just ask the media. Well, the ISIS bride situation, one that, of course, we've talked about a lot on this show, well, there is yet another development in exactly what's happening in terms of the government actually talking to the people who represent the areas where these people are going to be. Don't forget, they are there with the refugees who also are the refugees that came as a result of the caliphate. The mayors have been fearless, they have been relentless. They want a meeting with the PM one-on-one, but as we showed you last night, he's fobbed them off. But here is Frank Carboni on the Today Show this morning.
We want more hospitals, more roads, and we want better infrastructure. We don't want ISIS brides to be resettled in Western Sydney, where it's really insensitive putting them next door to people that actually they aided and abetted in killing their relatives.
But despite the fact that he is apparently a Prime Minister for everyone, Anthony Albanese, who, well, was in Sydney last night, just couldn't be asked to make his way to Western Sydney. Instead, he was at the GQ Man of the Year Awards, where he was given Politician of the Year by GQ magazine. At the same time, there's a lovely lady who is Danny Cox. Danny's a woman who's in her 40s and she's got 3 kids. Because of the failures of this government to do anything about cost of living in the past 6 months, she now has to spend too many nights in a car with her kids because there's nowhere to go. She said in response to him making it to the GQ Awards but not doing anything about cost of living, "I have no time or respect for him. He should hold his head in shame. He should be looking after the country, and this is happening to real families right under his nose." Meantime, about the ISIS brides, there is going to be a face-to-face meeting now between the mayors and the Home Affairs Minister. But remember, this is one she didn't want to have. She thought consultation meant talking to Labor Party members on the backbench. She thought she could get away with a 30-minute Zoom meeting, but apparently there now will be a meeting face-to-face.
It's really about time that the Minister took herself out to Western Sydney. She's had ample opportunity to do so, and quite frankly, she's being dragged kicking and screaming there, but at least she's finally turning up, and let's see what sort of a reception she gets and whether or not she can come up with the answers that the community in Western Sydney has been crying out for.
Good on those mayors and good on them for standing up for everyone in their community, especially those refugees. A couple of other quick things before we celebrate beautiful Warrnambool in this part of Victoria. As you know, there's a fight right now about the industrial relations system. I am absolutely confident that David Pocock will end up backing this piece of legislation. But at the heart of what I wanted to talk about here is an absurd fight that is a really fake fight about what businesses unions will be able to eventually start to strong-arm. Now, they say here that, well, we're going to make it maybe 20 employees, not 15. But that's a very curious way to count small business, because I checked this today. According to the tax office, the definition of a small business is an entity with an annual turnover of less than $10 million. So I don't know how many joints have got people with even 20 employees that are churning over $10 million in turnover. But one definition is that it's a small business, but when it's the unions being able to have more power, it's about the head count. And the head count is seemingly the key for David Pocock. So watch this thing probably happen. Oh yeah, remember how COVID apparently is back and everyone has to go back inside? Yeah, that's not actually happening. COVID case infections in New South Wales and Victoria appear to be slowing. The only person disappointed about that is, of course, Dr. Norman Swan. As for mining, you need to know as well here that the green's are the tail that wags this federal government's puppy, let's put it that way. And the Environment Minister today suggested that there's going to be brand new changes where federal law is going to start to override state law, and Indigenous communities will have final say over whether or not mining can happen. And speaking of the Teals, as we did before, there's one that ran but didn't win one of the Liberal seats on the North Shore of Sydney in the seat of Bradfield. Now, it was announced today that this candidate who lost the election is still opening basically an electorate office and is pretending to be the shadow representative. I'm pretty sure if that was a Republican and this was America, this would be what you'd call her.
We need to issue a warning here to our viewers and to this country. Election denialism is not dead.
Election deniers are running for Secretary of State, which would give them power over elections.
A lot of election deniers are on the ballot, and many of them have a good chance of winning.
You lost the election, but you open an office anyway and you're pretending to be the MP. Yeah, that's an election denier. But because they're of the left, it's just a lovely head fake. Oh, and finally, tomorrow's Black Friday. We don't have Thanksgiving in Australia, but we do have the sales. Now, I just want to say, enjoy everyone who's going to get $5 off this or $10 off that or maybe 25% off something. Particularly maybe a beautiful Nikon camera, this gorgeous brand new Nikon camera that I bought last week because I thought that was Black Friday, because all of the advertising had begun, but apparently I paid full freight. So whoever gets the chance to own a camera like this, congratulations, and screw you for the discount! Let's celebrate Warrnambool right now. Claire Todd-Hunter is one of our reporters who has spent time in this magnificent region of Australia.
A picturesque surfside town on Victoria's beautiful and rugged shipwreck coast.
Well, it's good. I mean, it doesn't matter what type of day it is. On a calm day, it's beautiful, and on a day like today, it's just spectacular as well.
Warrnambool is home to Australia's richest collection of nautical artefacts at one of the country's most significant maritime museums.
This is the Flagstaff Hill Maritime Village and Museum, which really takes in the maritime history of the region and some fantastic artefacts. You've got the clock and instrument repairer. That was really important for navigation purposes. Every village needs a fire station and a bank. And with the lolly shop, that's always the most popular for kids and other families.
Flagstaff Hill offers its visitors a unique chance to learn about the region's rich maritime history by experiencing it, with a range of self-guided activities based on life in the 1800s and what it was like to sail across the world on board clipper ships.
They used to haul the sails up with these ropes, and the pulley system's made it a lot easier. What do you want to do, hoist the sails?
I haven't been to the gym this week, but I'll give it a go.
Yep, give it a go. Heave away. All the way, that's it. Heave. Heave. Look at that, perfect. And that's the sails set for your 3-month voyage to Australia.
It's also become a popular tourist destination for fans of the 2015 film Oddball, which tells the true story of Warrnambool's famous Middle Island Maremma project, a world-first program training Maremma sheepdogs to guard local little penguin colonies from predators.
But we've got a Moray here and Avis, and yeah, these ones are now semi-retired, so these are our ambassador dogs now. So they do various conservation programs and programs here at Flagstaff Hill.
They are such beautiful dogs.
They are beautiful, and yeah, they're very popular here as well.
Fiona Van Kempen is Warrnambool born and bred and may know the city better than just about anyone.
My dad Joe, he came over from Holland in the 50s and built this bridge.
She established Warrnambool Tours in 2018 and despite the challenges of COVID has already grown her fleet of buses to 3, picking up guests from the V-Line train station or local accommodation to take them to sites like the scenic Thunder Point Coastal Reserve, the remarkable breakwater pier built at the foreshore to prevent shipwrecks in 1890, and the historic Cannon Hill Lookout, offering incredible views and history.
So in the early years, Queen Victoria lined the east coast with cannons to protect us from invasion, and this is where she put our cannons. So yeah, it's a beautiful lookout. A lot of people, locals, will come up here and have lunch. Yeah, it's spectacular.
But it's the nearby Great Ocean Road that's her biggest draw card, and the secret locations Fiona says only those living in the vicinity of Warrnambool know about.
But all the local spots that we show them is amazing.
The Great Ocean Road starts at Torquay near Geelong and ends at Allensford on the outskirts of Warrnambool. Now, locals are pushing for the western end to be seen as the gateway to one of the world's most scenic drives. One of Warrnambool's newer tourist attractions has drawn a niche type of visitor to Grasmere Junction, about 5 minutes north of the CBD, where 119 vintage motorbikes are on display at merchandise store George Taylor's.
About 8 years ago now, we started collecting a few motorbikes from one of our local customers. He was happy for us to put some on display, and then the collection's just grown and grown. Before this, no one could really see them. So yeah, at least here they can be seen and appreciated because some of these bikes are the only ones in Australia.
Just another unique quality that makes the city of Warrnambool so special and interesting, leaving locals with a strong message for the rest of Australia.
Well, my message is to get down here and experience the best coastline that Australia has to offer. It's spectacular, it's got history, and you can come and jump on board and tour with a local.
It is a magnificent part of Australia. I'm serious, you have to spend some time here. And 3 people who well and truly spend time here, because not only do they live here, but they help run the things that make this part of Australia fantastic. Michael Perry is the Premier Speedway General Manager. Tom O'Connor is with Warrnambool Racing, their CEO. And Kat Reeve is with Warrnambool Underground Markets. One and all, hello. Thank you very much. Kat, we'll start with you. Tell us about the markets. What are they like? How often do you run them?
So every Sunday from 8 till 1 p.m. So basically, there's a lot of handmade small businesses there. So it's not just second-hand or bric-a-brac. So anything from candles to all your Wiccan needs, if you need anything like that. Native flowers, so we've got Doe Even Native have got their homegrown eggs and honey and all their proteas and yeah, anything you want to find in native flowers. Jewellery, we've got things for the kids, we've got the colouring cave down the back, so while the parents are browsing all the bargains... you've got a little bit of entertainment. Santa will be there this Christmas as well.
Oh, hello.
So come and get some photos and enjoy that. We've got the food van, we've got the coffee van, so it's a one in all and it's all undercover.
I'm always jealous of Santa. He's the fat bearded guy people want to see. Now, Tom, tell us about the racing carnival. Country racing is always such a beautiful event, but certainly my boss, Paul, who's all into his horses, loves your carnival.
Yeah, it's an amazing carnival. It's fantastic for the city of Warrnambool. Brings a lot of people to town. 3 days in the middle of the week is a very important part of the community here to ensure that, you know, hospitality gets a piece of the pie at a time when it's not as busy in the holiday period here in Warrnambool. So, yeah, a lot of work goes into the carnival, and yeah, it's a real feature for country racing in Victoria.
How many people do you normally get through on the biggest of days?
This year we had around the 15 mark on the Thursday.
Wow.
So it's a local holiday for the community, and you know they're travelling. People travel from far and wide to come, and across the 3 days we get around the 30,000 mark.
That's good. Now, Michael, I'm a bit of a speed freak. Supercars is my particular thing, but tell me about the Speedway, and particularly it's world-class sprint racing.
It is, Paul, and if you like supercars, you'll love sprint cars and Speedway because it's very exciting. It's you know, participate on a 400-metre clay oval, so it's very exciting. You know, we have.
It's loud and muddy. It's me. I love it.
It is exciting. There's lots of crashes, and yeah, we have a great following. And yeah, the Premier Speedway in Warrnambool is one of the premium venues in Australia. So it's yeah, Warrnambool's lucky to have such a great venue here.
And to have such a world-class event. I mean, sprint car racing particularly has got big participation from overseas talent as well. When you put on the big events, just how big is the biggest event?
Yeah, Warrnambool does host the biggest event in Australia, so that's great for a regional town to have that. And yeah, we get a lot of international drivers. Obviously, post-COVID, we're still building that up, but yeah, probably our record year was over 20 American drivers come out and compete at our venues.
Yeah, for those that don't know, how fast does a sprint car go?
It's in excess of 140 miles per hour, as I say, on a 400-metre oval.
What do you like as a driver, or you just like to watch it?
I have driven. I've retired. I'm a has-been by now. But yeah, no, it's exciting. Yeah.
So, Kat, you don't want anyone doing sprint car donuts at the market? No chance for that in the next little while?
Yeah, not for safety.
Probably hold it back.
Yeah.
So let's talk though about what it's like to live here, to have businesses, to have concerns in this area. Kat, what's it like to live here? What's specifically cool about Warrnambool compared to Geelong, not that far up the road, or maybe even big bad Melbourne?
I think for me it's the coastline. It's just absolutely amazing. I live literally a hop, skip and a jump from the beach. Just the town, the community, the people, everybody. Like, I moved from Melbourne, and as soon as I came into town on the train, moved here for love, I just knew that it was the right move. Green, I love that it's just so lush. I'm a country girl at heart. I'm from Bendigo, a little bit more inland, a little bit drier, but yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful, and I think mainly just the people. Yeah,
Tom, what's this joint like when it needs to pull together?
Yeah, really proud. Works really strongly together and supports. You know, we've got some amazing events, and the community gets really behind them, really passionate, particularly. You know, the area that I work in racing, the southwest Victoria is very strong when it comes to racing and really gets behind it and supports the history that is the sport of racing. You're the new boy, though.
I am.
So
8 weeks.
What brought you to Warrnambool? Apart from the gig?
Speedway.
Yeah.
It was the job. You know, I've been a Speedway fanatic all my life, so to work in an industry that you love and passionate about is what brought me here.
Now, I don't want to, for a second, project my politics onto any of you, let alone the hate that you may well get on your Facebook pages. Don't blame them, blame me. The past couple of years, though, it's been tough. It's been particularly tough because at that period of time that we'd all love to forget, but it was real for a couple of years, you couldn't leave Melbourne and you couldn't get in to Victoria, so you had this sort of band of regional Victoria having to take care of itself. You made it through, but do people need to understand that that was a tough time? That wasn't just an easy run, was it?
No, not at all. It was, you know, we were probably very fortunate to live in a beautiful city like Warrnambool, being regionally based. We weren't as affected, but certainly if you had family interstate, and certainly if they had illnesses during that time, it was a sad time.
Kat, does it feel like that's a lifetime ago, or people still remember that discomfort?
Oh, I think it's still around. Yeah, I don't think we'll forget it for a long time. Yeah, and I think small business is one of those things that's suffered majorly, and we're all just trying to get back on our feet. So supporting places like the market is going to help do that.
Bloody oath. All right, well, all of them have Facebook pages, websites. We'll put all of that up on our socials. Give them a round of applause. We love Warrnambool. Thank you, guys. Do appreciate it. Quick break. Back with more here on Paul Murray Live from Warrnambool. And don't forget, who's the winner and loser of the week? Tell us on the Facebook page. Welcome back to Warrnambool, where tonight we are going to celebrate regional Australia like we've never done before. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, it is your duty to make sure that you book a holiday here tonight. Visit regional Australia this summer. It is absolutely worth seeing and worth your love and support. Because apart from anything else, you get to meet amazing people like the beautiful people in this room. That's TV host Suck Up Talk. But still, is that these lovely people in the room, but also incredible people who make regional Australia the best part of the world. And the Shine Awards, which have just been announced, is a wonderful effort which has been put together by Harvey Norman and the Weekly Times, and they celebrate some incredible women in regional Australia. Grace, courage, sheer tenacity and utter strength. These are the things that you find in our nation's regional women. It's a quiet quality, one where they demand no attention, they seek no praise. But let's give them some anyway. Welcome to the Shine Awards, where we recognise these incredible parts of our community. A coming together of rural and regional women from far and wide who've all done extraordinary things for their communities. The intention? To bring them the acknowledgement that they so often go without. Launched in 2017, the Shine Awards, which is supported by Harvey Norman, celebrates Australian women who make a real difference to our nation. And there's no better example of that than Emily Riggs. After using fashion as an outlet to deal with the trauma of cancer as a child, this year's Passion category winner turned to championing Aussie fibre in adulthood.
Just before my 10th birthday, I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and not many, almost 10-year-olds would really understand what this meant. But at that exact time, my mum was in the battle of her life with breast cancer. And I remember the first thing I said was, oh no, I don't want to lose my hair. So that day, the unthinkable happened. Mum and I would battle cancer together, and a year into my treatment, Mum sadly lost her battle. She was only 43, and it was the hardest time of my life. I'd lost my mum. I was so sick I could barely get out of bed. And I did end up losing my hair, and on occasions I was mistaken for a boy, and this really shattered my confidence. So it was then that I turned to fashion, and it was a way for me to express my creativity and for people to look beyond my illness. And then fast forward 20 odd years, I fall in love with a hot farmer and moved to Burra, just 2 hours north of Adelaide, and he's a merino sheep farmer, so I was exposed to the fibre on a daily basis and thought, why not combine the two and create Iris and Wool? And here we are.
Mixing escapism with her love of fashion and her hubby's Aussie merino wool, Emily creates Iris and Wool, a fashion brand producing luxury designs of the highest quality.
I've really delved into the power of your story, and I think that's how I've reached I've cut through what is a saturated market, and people love buying from people, and they really resonate with a real person, and everyone has their own story. It's just if you're brave enough to share it.
The Iris bit of Iris and Wool is the way that Emily is honouring her mum. It was her favourite flower. The company also donates $1 of all sales to the McGrath Foundation to honour her courage.
Well, it's actually quite fitting. Today would have been my mum's 66th birthday, so it's a real honour to be able to celebrate my award for passion in the Shine Awards. Just give it a go, and the worst thing that'll happen is it won't happen. But as my wise grandmother always used to say to me, is if at first you don't succeed, then try again.
The Shine Awards is such a great idea. Well done to Katie and Penny for yet again celebrating these incredible people. And I'm very pleased to say that I had the chance to talk to Emily from the Man Cave a couple of days ago because she's been named the overall winner. Emily, congratulations.
Thank you so much. What a thrill and what an honour. I'm very humbled to be the overall winner of the Shine Awards. So thank you very much.
Now, already you were elevated above the pack on the passion category. You thought that might be enough, or did you? Well, how big a surprise is it to get the overall nod?
Oh, it was an absolute surprise this morning. I quickly jumped onto on the Weekly Times and the Australian website and saw my article was up, and yeah, it was just such a thrill and actually brought tears to my eyes. Very honoured and humbled. So.
What I love about your story and your business is that you are able to use the product that your husband makes. You have a career for yourself, but you're also able to honour mum. Your story is well known to our audience because we just explained your health history, but like everyone, you want to celebrate your mum, but you got that extra reason to celebrate your mum by naming the business after her. How? Well, tell us the story of mum.
Yeah, so Iris and Wool is named after mum's favourite flower, which was an iris, and she back when you probably explained that I had cancer just before my 10th birthday, and at the same time, mum was in the battle of her life with breast cancer, and a year into my treatment, she actually passed away. And yeah, so it was a tough time for me. I'd lost my mum. I was so sick I could barely get out of bed, and I lost my hair, and I was often mistaken for a boy. So it was then that I turned to fashion, and probably where the first seeds of Iris and Wool were planted. And yeah, I also donate $1 of every sale to the McGrath Foundation in Mum's honour, and to hope to help other families. And yeah, it's just I'm lucky to be here, and so I'm just shining the light for Mum and other people in cancer battles, and hopefully I'm inspiring some along the way as well.
Our mums are amazing, but especially the mums that aren't here. Tell us about the type of lady your mum was.
Well, they used to call her Champagne Jane. Apparently she was, I only have memories of her when she was quite sick, but I get told a lot from her friends that she always loved to party and was the life of a party. And yeah, they named her Champagne Jane. Yeah. She'd
be so proud of you, apart from what you've done, but also on this particular day. So about the business, tell us about how you decided to turn it into a going concern. Tell us about just how big the business has become.
So I'm in my 4th year of business, and it's growing steadily, and just love being able to promote the fabulous qualities of Australian merino wool. I'm married to a merino sheep farmer. He's 5th generation, so our kids will be 6th generation, and I just love the fibre. It's sustainable, biodegradable, renewable. I always say it's the best fibre in the world, and it's an honour to be able to showcase the fibre as it is into my fashion label, Iris and Wool.
See, I think that your family is the future of regional Australia. It's able to make the most of, as you say, what's been there for 5 and 6 generations when it comes to your kids, but also finding a new way and a new way of being able to market the product around the world. What do you want to say to particularly the women that will be watching us right now in regional Australia about just having a crack, finding a way to do it on your own terms?
yeah, just give it a go. If you're passionate about something, you've got to give it a go and see where it leads.
Emily is awesome. She really is. Her website, by the way, and please support this tonight, is irisandwool.com, irisandwool.com. And again, thank you very much to Penny at the Weekly Times and all of the team at Harvey Norman. You guys are so phenomenal to us being able to support our town each and every year. And thank you so much to Katie and the whole team. You guys really do back in regional Australia. And, well, we're very happy to be a small part of that. But a big part of celebrating in this part of the world is to celebrate the fabulous produce. We'll do that next here on Paul Murray Live. Welcome back to the Whalers Hotel, and thank you so much to Alistair and Daryl who are hosting us here this evening. We are celebrating beautiful Warrnambool. I'm telling you, you've got to come here. Come for a couple of days, come for a week, stay for the rest of your life. Feel free to do so because there are some wonderful people here. And CommBank are certainly supporters of what we do here at our town, and they are phenomenal when it comes to supporting the people of regional Australia. Here's some stories of how they're helping some farmers. We all know our nation is built on the backbone of hard-working Aussies. The tireless work of these men and women plays a vital role in our day-to-day lives in more ways than many of us will ever know. And for many of these quieter Australians, it's more than just a farm, it's a legacy.
It is an incredible amount of history, and when I go around the farm and I see trees that they've planted or places where they've built haystacks or rocks that they've piled up or drains that they've dug by hand, you get a real sense of continuity that, you know, it's not just something for now, it's something for now and into the future.
And that vision is what drives farmers like Ron to innovate and use modern technology to move his dairy farm way into the future.
With the Easy Dairy system that we've put in, we can track all our cows through the dairy and we can monitor at what stage of lactation they're in and accurately keep records of any health issues or any calving issues. It's unbelievable just how much time that saves.
We're really fortunate to have insight into many businesses across the region. The strength and determination of these businesses over the last 2 years has really been evident as they work through those challenges. We've seen businesses adapt and change the way that they operate. Innovation and sustainability is definitely on the minds of our customers like Ron and Bronwyn, who are adapting new technologies into their business and thinking innovatively as they look into the future. We've seen a lot of challenges across the region. Back in 2018, we had the St Patrick's Day fires, and closely followed was the pandemic. The global impacts more broadly are still being felt across the agribusiness industry, with fuel prices and fertilisers increasing and a labour shortage across the region. It was so pleasing to see the Australia Bureau of Statistics come out and announce South West Victoria as one of our highest food producers across the country. So it's just an incredible achievement for our farmers and a real show of their resilience through the most challenging period.
And many of those challenges faced by so many in regional Australia could not be met without the support of the great people at Commonwealth Bank, who really show us what it's meant by community spirit.
CommBank is proud to be supporting regional communities and businesses across regional Australia for over 110 years. We continue to work closely with our customers to provide them with the support they need to reach their business goals, whether that is like working capital to help our businesses or asset finance or just our local specialised knowledge.
CommBank helped me get going at 60 cows. I had no experience in dairying because I was a carpet layer by trade. And through that time, as my experience grew and the need for more capital, they've met me at every step of the way. And they've helped us purchase land and do some other strategic planning around asset purchases and leasing of equipment or equipment finance. So they've been really supportive. You're really supportive.
And as we mark National Agricultural Day, it's vital that Aussies around the nation know the significance and importance of farmers like Ron as we look to the future of farming.
Last week was National Ag Day. Our farmers make such a huge contribution to the economy and our regional communities. This is a time for us to say thank you to all of our customers and all of our farmers across regional Australia.
Thank you to the team at Commonwealth Bank, not just for what they do in regional Australia, but helping us with our town, which will be back in 2023. Quick break, back with more live from Warrnambool, where a very special guest is about to join us, perhaps a month early. Welcome back to Warrnambool. The excitement is in the air because a chance to win. Paul's Meat joins us in a moment or two's time. Rob, our floor manager, walking in front of the cameras. Well done, sir. Now, by the way, special shout out to a key member of our crew who go around the country doing this thing each and every month, and strength and love to our mate Keithy, who normally works on audio. He's the best in the business, and we are wishing him nothing but the best, mate. Strength and love. Can you give him a round of applause? I know you haven't met him, but we love him. We love you, Keithy, and everyone else who's battling right now. Now, What Ability is a fantastic organisation which is helping disabled people in this part of Australia, and here's part of their story. There are some truly amazing people doing some truly amazing things in the community. Meet Steve Dressler, former Parramatta Eels and New South Wales Cup player, turned founder of What Ability, giving people living with a disability better community experiences.
I was at the Parramatta Eels for 5 years, and in that time they had a great program that you had to work or learn to be able to play. And I decided to work at a school for kids with autism, and I then took some of them kids out on weekends to my games, to other games and on my jet ski and just having fun, and thought we need to do more of this. So I started What Ability.
Think camps, trips to a museum, attending sporting matches. And by tapping into his network, Dressler now has dozens of athletes, from pro surfers to NRL stars to professional netballers, who regularly help out, just like Maddie Proud from the New South Wales Swifts.
I think that What Ability athletes can have such an impact on participants' lives because it breaks down barriers, it breaks down stigmas. You see an NRL player like Tom Dravojevic out with someone with a disability, it just shows that everyone has the right to have a good time, to have a normal life, to have fun, to be able to get out into the community and just have a smile on their face. And by having athletes who have such a powerful presence in probably social media and just in the world in general, it really shows that we're all equal and we all can have a good time together.
Athletes are the most influential people in the world. If they can be hanging out with kids with disability and be seen to be in public with them, it's going to break down the barriers for the rest of the world.
If there were other athletes that were thinking about getting involved in this work, I would say that it is so fun, it's super rewarding. It's honestly just the best job ever, and What Ability have been amazing to work for. So yeah, it honestly doesn't feel like work at all, so it's perfect.
But it's not just professional athletes that give up their time, it's the dedication and passion of all support workers that make What Ability such a special idea.
I would tell future support workers that want to work at What Ability that it's a great job. You're not only giving these participants new experiences, but yourself as well. You're there to help facilitate the fun, and with a duty of care, it's a really empowering job.
When people ask me what does a regular day look like with What Ability, it's actually a tricky one to answer because I feel as though no 2 days look the same, because we can go anywhere from bowling to flip out to beach days to the pool, museums, all these amazing adventures.
Special to Abby and special to everyone else that gets involved in What Ability, like their new CEO, who's a stalwart when it comes to working with some truly remarkable people and organisations.
Coming over and being at Ronald McDonald House for the last 9 years truly has given me a great insight into the importance of caring for people in need and in the community, and ways that we can run programs to ensure that their daily lives can be better, and the support that we give them, how really life-changing it can be. Steve and the whole team at What Ability has the most amazing infectious passion for helping people with disability. Taking them out in the community and being able to see smiles on people's faces is exactly what they do day in and day out, and making sure that happiness does come first.
Harvey Norman are a vital part of our success. They're helping us bring more happiness to people living with a disability. If they can be seen to be helping us, it's going to make Australia more inclusive.
From a parent's perspective, it's been phenomenal as far as the changes. Go back pre-What Ability, nothing existed, and we couldn't have imagined that there would be such a service out there that would be able to take Adam out on a weekly basis, daily basis, take Adam out for periods of time that, you know, extended up to a week, for example. There's so many things that he's now doing that we never would have imagined that he'd be able to do. So being able to, you know, simple things like showering, changing, feeding, they're all little milestones, but as, you know, parents of a child with a disability, they're quite major things for us. And the fact that he gets to do those things every time and practice those things every time he's away is, you know, phenomenal.
I love it that I get out and I like to go for drives and adventures.
I'm just having a good time, and I've got a lot of good friends here, a lot of good friends.
They are spectacular people. And if you're looking for disability support or want to become a support worker, head to our website, which is whatability.com.au. Get in touch, whatability.com.au. Very special people doing special things in a wonderful part of Australia. Well, whenever we go around the country, of course, it's an opportunity for you to win Paul's Meat. Yes, I know, but that's the way it works. Which is the finest of local produce, given, of course, to the very beautiful people who turn up each and every time. Everyone gets a raffle ticket, everyone goes into the draw. But because this is the final Our Town of the year, well, I'm not going to do the draw. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Santa and his elf.
Hey.
Hello, elf, how are you? G'day, Santa, how are you?
Good, very good.
Hello, Santa. Are you excited? It's a COVID-free Christmas.
It's a beauty without the mask, without the social distancing. It is going to be fantastic to have the little kids come up and be able to hear what they want for Christmas. It'll be great.
What was it like trying to put masks on the reindeer for the past couple of years?
Well, it wasn't easy, especially with Rudolph's nose. It's just, we had to cut a hole and, you know, it just got messy.
But make sure you put them on when you go to teal seats, OK? Because they really still do demand them. No politics with Santa or his elf. That's what I was told before. No politics with Santa and his elf. All right, so everyone, grab your ticket. It is time now to draw the final edition of Win Paul's Meat. Here we go. You do it. You're like just Santa's elf. You do it. You search for it. Otherwise, I'll rig it like I normally do.
There we go.
All right, Santa, who's the winning ticket tonight?
A30.
A30. Who's the winner? Hands in the air. Somebody will get it.
A30.
Here's your chance or I'll go again. We're live on the telly. It's pink.
Oh!
Oh! Hey!
Roma!
That's a trick. That's a trick.
You little kid.
Now redonate it to the room. Yeah, food share. All right, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, Santa, I need you to go and see some kids up the back there as well, all right? Go up and say
All
good
right.
day to a couple.
Say hello to your kids for
Thank you,
me.
I will.
Good on ya.
They've got quite the
Thank
list
you.
for you. Thank you, Santa. Thank you, Elf. All right, so that's our show from Warrnambool, and that is us for Our Town for yet another year. This is the best part of this job, and I got the best job on Australian telly because I get to speak freely, I get to communicate with you, we get to talk about all sorts of big ideas, but the chance to be able to see the greatest country in the world, to celebrate it with you is something that I am forever thankful for. I really want to thank the people who make that possible for us, which of course is Harvey Norman, CommBank and a fantastic team here at Sky News. We'll see you again on the road next year, but back in the man cave next week on Sky News. See you, Warrnambool. Love you guys. Here's Rowan Dean.